Welcome back, amigos. I'm at a regular spot, but I didn't leave it looking this way. It's shocking. The wind speeds this afternoon are quite shocking as well. What's the most shocking thing in this? Is it the tree or is it the high water? Should be both, right? Because last time I was here, this tree was up there. Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with this wind speed. It is at 15, but out here on the river, oh, it's gonna feel a lot more than 15. But it should drop, but I don't think it's really gonna drop to something manageable for the video until we lose the light. It is about 5:15, 5:20, somewhere around then. Somewhere around there. Yeah, you're right. The river is just over 9 and still rising. It's going to come up over 10. Doesn't have much more to come up before it starts to crest, but it's going to take it a few days to do that. So this is a willow. A lot of you already know, some of you don't. There's a lot of willows growing along the river here, and they're not a hardwood, they're a softwood. They're legendary for falling over in bad weather. You see the root ball came up. May not have been a very significant root ball. It may have broke. It looks, look at this. I'm gonna come out here. I'm about to get us going here, but you see that? Let me come down in here without getting my butt wet. Check that out. It's just kind of hollow looking. Looks like termite damage. Maybe not for motion termites though, right? Maybe the native ones, because there are native termites here. When I first got here, I nonchalantly put my hand on this. This was sticking out like that. See that? Put my hand there and it just broke off. See that? Those are probably native termites. The Formotians are invasive termites. The Formotians are the ones that eat the houses here. And you can see damage probably goes back in there. This whole core, the center, could be damaged by termites coming from the base up. I don't know how high. They could go all the way up, but this is probably like the 15-foot mark from the base, from the root ball. Yeah, it's not always termites why these trees fall over. They grow fast and therefore they die fast. See this one right here? That's probably gonna come down. Since I've been fishing this spot for the last few years and fishing along the river in this thin strip of wooded area of willow, I've seen lots of these topple down over my trails and on my spots. I've had to cut them out of the way. Well, I did not bring anything to do that with today. However, I am probably going to do that if someone else doesn't do it, because I'm not the only one that will come down here with something like a chainsaw or a sawzall. There's a lot of locals like myself who do that. Okay, so I'm actually really excited about this. I'm excited about the river being up at just over 9 feet. I wish it was cresting, you know, flatlining instead of rising, but nonetheless, I'm still very excited, because normally, like when I'm here at around 6 feet, I'm fishing really, really shallow water. It's super shallow in the corner of this sketchy dock. Oh, oops. And it gets deeper as we come out to the end, right? Like I've said so many times in these videos when I'm fishing here. But when your river is higher, it's deeper out there. And it's still at 60 degrees. It's holding tight to 60. But yeah, I'm feeling good about it, because look, the river is up into these new patches of willows, and those new patches of willows are perfect habitat for river shrimp. And I think we have another week to 2 weeks before the river shrimp start running. However, we may see them popping tonight. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would love for them to be running right now, because if the river shrimp are running right now, there's going to be a lot more fish coming up in here. But this in general, I have higher expectations of this spot right now because of this river being up at 10. It gets really interesting in springtime fishing this at a 10-foot level, 11, 12. But once you get up over 12, you're way too far back. I mean, you're basically, you can fish it at 12 and 13. You can fish it at 13, but at 13, you're just constantly standing in water and fishing in the water. You got your sand spikes in the water. Come on, let's get into it. I'm excited. Only 2 rods. Forget which company makes this hook. Different companies will have a different sizing for the hooks, but this is a circle, it's an octopus style circle hook, and it's either going to be somewhere around a 5/0 or a 6/0. Looks like a 5/0 to me, but it could be. These different companies have different sizing. This is a Blue Runner rod, pretty lightweight, medium heavy action rod, 8 feet, has mono on it, has a cheap Shakespeare Alpha. The mono is about 45-pound test, coastal brown. Wow, look at that. Can you see it? It's probably, I'll try to zoom in on it a little bit, but probably not going to do it justice. There's a buoy, a loose buoy floating. It's green. All right, so for the moment, both of my leads are going to be 3 ounce. We might need to up that to 4. If we were fishing stronger current that is existing in front of this structure, 4s or 6s would be what I would want, but it might not be too bad behind this structure. So we're going to start out with 3s and then see how we do. The second rod, you may know. You've probably seen these videos before. You already knew the first rod, but this is a Twitch and Whiskers, and I'm going to tell you about it just in case you don't. This was sent to me for free to try out by this company that's based out of the Appalachians somewhere, that region of the US. It is a tournament catfish rod at 7'6". It is a 1-piece. It is a fun rod, very strong. If you have a black light or an ultraviolet light, it will glow in the dark where you see the yellow and the tip. So we have same sort of hook on there, about the same size. 3 ounces of lead, a bead, 80-pound braid. Let's go. We're just gonna do stakes. Gonna go ahead and trim the gut pocket off both pieces. This is fresh mullet that I caught myself in the video before this. Just want that hook going through the top bit of the skin. Don't need a real deep hook there. That'll be fine. I'll show you over here. It's a little difficult at times to do this, looking at it and looking at it through the camera at the same time. We want to take the tip and maybe get some scales out of the way. That's a good tip I could give you. And then we come in just underneath the skin a little bit. There we go. This ship coming down, oh, it's not a ship, that's a seagoing barge being pushed by a tug. Very deceiving at first. If you don't look at it close enough, you'll think there's a tanker or something coming down. That is just a giant seagoing barge. All right, so I'm out in the water. I've got my boots on. Right on top of that grouping of pylons. See how far it drifts past them. That's about the halfway mark. Shallow in the corner, deeper there, and a lot deeper at the end. That is a good place, that center where the pylons are. Get lots of fish off there, because around each pylon is going to be what we'll call a bowl, an indention in the river bottom, and fish will get in that to hide or to wallow. And they'll be patrolling around this structure too. If you don't know, the reason why I'm very, very excited about fishing this at this level this afternoon, even though it's butterscotch, even though it's dirty, big fish in spring come up into this shallow water to feed. And that's what I'm excited about. All right, I think we've drifted in a good place towards the end. Knowing that the current is going to be really strong because the river coming up right now is why I put this bait initially at the pylons there, so it could drift into the exact place I want it. And I think I've achieved that. Second bait, I'm gonna try and get in this corner. Whoa, this wake coming up into my boots. As it stands at this moment, 3 ounces are fine. It may not be like that tomorrow though. It is now 6 o'clock. I wanted to check out this condo someone was trying to build. I don't think they're going to be able to get much out of the resale of it. Looks a little depreciated to me. This has been here a while and it was unmovable, but not today. Look at that. The water brought it up a little bit and put it on top of this other one, and now it's kind of, it's a giant teeter-totter. Let's get on top of it and see if I can ride it. Wow, this is kind of fun. It's like easier than a little skateboard on ice. So I might be really excited about the river coming up, but there may be a low probability on catching because of how dirty it is. This is up and dirty because of the previous bad weather the South received from a line of storms coming through that had tornadoes and torrential downpours associated with it. And then there was all this north wind, right? It's probably going to look like this for another week or more. It might get a little better by then, but we've got days and days of this dirty water. Doesn't mean catching is out of the question though. That's kind of an interesting piece of wood. This is a different stick coming out. We're going to break it off and look at it. This is that tree laying across here. So that is damaged too. Something has occurred to me, a question I have about, is it termites or is it carpenter ants? Could be carpenter ants, but now that I've broke this off and exposed it, they've all left. When I did this initially, there were baby ones in there and they don't like the light, so they've retreated deeper. I absolutely realize a lot of time has gone by in this video without catching or a bite. That is fishing for you. One of the things I like to do on this channel is not just show you when it's spectacular. I'll show you the reality of it, whatever that reality is, and that's what we're doing. Now sunset is not too far off. It's around 7:30, so we got about an hour and a half, and we're just rattling on right now because I think we might be getting a bite. Actually, if you look at the silver rod, the blue runner, it's kind of acting a little funny, definitely compared to the twitch and whisker, but these rods are different. The twitch and whisker is a lot stiffer because it's a stronger rod. So the blue runner is the opposite. It's very sensitive, very kind of flimsy. It'll catch big fish, but it is definitely not as strong as the twitch and whisker. The twitch and whisker has a lot of backbone. So it's either the wind or a line bite. It just started shaking a little bit and with tension like building on it. Maybe it's nothing. All right, now that I'm down here, I know what was going on when I was seeing things going on with the blue runner. We must have had the current pick up because we were stable right here to the left of the pylons, the grouping of pylons, but the current has picked up and we've drifted way to the right of them. Yes, I'm bored if you couldn't tell. So here we go. We're going to strip this back. It's obviously rotted and there's stuff living in it. This tree is not dead. See that? That's wet. You can see a lot of bug damage here. It's just the whole core of this willow. And willow's up, yeah, it's full of ants. So maybe it is carpenter ants. I was out on the river a few nights ago with Craig and it was dark. I had light, but I picked up a piece of wood in the dark and instantly regretted it because my hands were engulfed. So this, maybe it is carpenter ants. A lot of times these willows, when you find them about this age, about this size, out here on the river, their core will rot. This tree will stay alive. Oh, there's, what is that? There's like a, you see that white thing right there? Look at that. See it? There's like a bug about to be a bug. Really common for the center of these trees to rot out and for it to go hollow even before the tree dies. It'll still be, that's a vine growing on the tree right there, but you see here, see that right there? The core is dying. The core is almost gone, but the tree is still alive, still thriving. And it can fall over right now and not die. It just, a lot of times what happens when these trees break in a storm and they're kind of dead in the center, but they're still alive on the outside, like this right here. This tree will hit the ground and what's living will re-root. So the tree on its side will grow more roots coming out the side of the tree into the ground. And these will become big trees eventually, living off what was left of this tree. So bored, so bored. I want to catch a fish. I keep looking over my shoulder, but I'll come over here. You see this tree on its side right here? It is not dead. It broke in a storm, obviously, and it's going to keep making new roots, but eventually it'll die, but it'll make new trees unless someone comes and cuts it out or the river takes it out. Same thing over here. Here's a good example of what I'm trying to tell you. You see this tree branch here? They fall over, river comes up, brings sediment. See how this tree fell and it was laying on its side, but then it got covered in sand. That's right here. If no one bothers it, this will turn into a tree. And these could as well, but they're not in the ground. So a root ball is probably going to form right here. This whole thing that's buried in the sand is going to create a mass of roots. So nature can come and knock these trees out, take them out, but they'll keep on trucking. Unless the bugs just eat everything. Oh, hello. 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 Ah. 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 Almost sunset, and that was my first legit take. What was that? The bait looks fine. Ah. There's a lot of this weed, this dead grass in the water catching the lines. That was not a good solid hookup. Felt like a big fish. Took the rod tip down. Maybe that was a alligator gar. I'm not feeling alligator gar. There's a possibility. Right back out there. I mean, that's one way to check your bait, right? Oh, there we go. Stay on this time. Got him. Yes, just had to put up with the boredom. Talking about willows, termites, carpenter ants. This rod is a lot of fun. I was in the process of getting a fire together. All right. Adjusting the angle of my dangle here, and I gotta watch for these wakes coming in. This fish is coming up against that stand of willows. Looks like he's out of it though. Not a very big fish. Boy, I thought I was looking at a skunk session because it took forever to get a bite, and finally they started taking the rods down. There you go. Sometimes you just have to wait to get something. Yeah, you're right, not a very big one by far, but it is one. Hopefully it's not the only one. He was ready. Wind is still up, and it's 8:30 now. I thought it was gonna lay down around 7-ish, but it really didn't. For a second I thought it was laying down, and then all of a sudden it came up and it just kept knocking my ring light over. So once after that first fish, no more bites, just another slow session out here on the river. It happens, especially this time of year when you're about to go over 60 degrees, you're right at 60, and the river comes up from all this bad weather and it's dirty like it is. So yeah, sometimes it's just not productive right now at this time of year when it's rising. But we did have a big fish hit us. I don't know if it was a cat or a gar, and then we had that one, so it's gonna get better. Yeah. It's always just nice to spend some time out here on the river, whether you get some fish or you don't. But it's always better when you do get something. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.